you get a DK Metcalf game, you not only know it for sure, but it's special, man. He had 15 targets, 12 catches for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns on the 49ers defense. This is a defense that I know that they have a lot of injuries, but they're still a top 10, top 15 defense, and DK Metcalf just shitted on them, man. And it's not like they're completely decimated. Like I said, on Player Profiler, the number 2 corner on Player Profiler is Jason Verrett, who's only been giving up 4.2 fantasy points per game to opposing wide receivers. Well, DK Metcalf says, fuck all that. I'm going to come in there. I'm going to score 34.1.5 PPR points. He had a 40% target share, 50% of the passing touchdowns, and he had 61% of Russ's passing yards. He just absolutely dominated. And like I said, that was against Player Profiler's number 2 cornerback, Jason Verrett. Now, I know Jason Verrett, he's been kind of off the radar recently, and I do know that Witherspoon and Sherman are out, but DK Metcalf's lining up most of the time against Jason Verrett, and he absolutely torched him. And it wasn't just torching him deep like he usually does. DK Metcalf is no longer just, you can't just meme DK Metcalf and say, oh yeah, he just lines up on the left and he run streaks the whole game. It's not the same thing where Michael Thomas and you're gonna meme him for slants, which is honestly bullshit to begin with. But to marginalize these receivers as a one-dimensional type guy, that's fine. When DK Metcalf came in, he was a raw receiver. He was a guy that was a deep threat in college and specialized in streaks and shit like that. But now DK Metcalf, he's really perfected his craft. I talked about this in the offseason. DK Metcalf, he came into the league as a guy that's just going to run streaks, but by the end of the season, he became more than that, and it shows on the route trees on NFL Next Gen Stats. The main game that did it for me was the game against the Eagles in the playoffs. In that game, DK Metcalf was used as the alpha, and that's how he's being used in 2020, and that's what we saw on Sunday. He was lining up in the slot, he was running comeback, streaks, screens, slants. As I said, he's going to be working in all 3 levels of the field, and that's what's huge for that alpha level receiver, for him to make that next step, and it's really just sort of the beginning of what's going to be a special borderline Hall of Fame career for DK Metcalf. Just for 2020, how many receivers would you draft over him? For me, it's a short list, man. I would just have probably DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, and Michael Thomas over DK Metcalf right now. And then DK Metcalf, I would say, is firmly in that next tier. He's in that next tier with guys like Keenan Allen. We got guys like Mike Evans there, Chris Godwin, A.J. Brown. Those type of high-end elite wide receivers. I'd say he's in that 5 to 8 range right now, and that's in season 2. He's going to have an insane season this year from an efficiency standpoint. With only 135 targets, he's on pace for 82, 1,500 yards, and 16 touchdowns. And I know that 82 catch total is low, but you have to remember that the reason why we don't perceive DK Metcalf in the same light as a DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, Michael Thomas, is because he's not getting the same volume as that. Let's just do a little exercise, and let's see what Metcalf would do if he had 166 targets like a Hopkins. Hopkins is on pace for 166 targets this year. So DK Metcalf with 166 targets would have 101 catches, 1,907 yards, and 19 touchdowns. That would put him second behind Calvin Johnson on the all-time single-season receiving yards list as a second-year player in the NFL. And the player that he would beat out from that second place spot would be Julio Jones. It's just so fitting that this year, if he was afforded 166 targets, he would be in between Calvin Johnson and Julio Jones for one of the greatest seasons of all time. I know we're jumping out to best case scenario here. I know obviously this type of efficiency is only sustainable because Russell Wilson's on an MVP type campaign about to break the passing touchdown record. But you have to look at a guy like Julio Jones. He didn't get 130 targets until his 4th year because he was kind of the 1B to Roddy White. The similar way that Metcalf's the 1B to Tyler Lockett. That's what I'm saying. So the numbers aren't going to be the same as a Michael Thomas, Hopkins, Julio Jones from a targets, catches perspective. But that's not to say that he's not as talented as those players. It's just a matter of him being an offense with Tyler Lockett and not being afforded that same volume and same targets that those elite tier guys are.